Re Fantazio, or Re Fantazio, I really don't know, presents Atlus with a new opportunity to blow people away with a brand new game. While they've been on a little bit of a rocky path recently with what Soul Hackers 2 and Shin Megami Tensei 5 not totally living up to fan expectations, Re Fantazio is a new IP and therefore has a lot of potential to hit in a big way.
It's as if they're the same, yet mirrored.
We've already seen elements of Shin Megami Tensei with the press turn system, or something like that, and elements of Persona with the social stats and social link kind of system that seems to be in the game. Re Fantazio still needs to be different. Remember that this is not a Persona or SMT game. There are clear influences from Persona, but I want Re Fantazio to try to be something different too. Something about Atlus games is that the more recent ones are similar to each other. They share a decent number of core traits. If you've played SMT 5, P5, and Soul Hackers 2, you'll notice that they all borrow elements from each other. And that's fine, but I want this new IP to still be experimenting with new ideas beyond just the setting and story. While the core component of JRPGs is typically the story, I think it's still healthy for games even within the same genre and within the same company to be constantly trying out new ideas to see what works and what doesn't. And I want to see how Re Fantazio can create its own unique identity so that it's not simply just medieval Persona. Something I'm sure many people have noticed, as I have taken note of as well, is that this game is only coming out on 8th and 9th gen hardware. Essentially meaning that it's not being held back by the limitations of older hardware. The other Atlus game like that is Soul Hackers 2, which I'm not really sure if that one was being held back, or if it was fully utilizing the hardware that it was on. Anyway, Soul Hackers 2 was a lot more linear. Re Fantazio looks to be a lot more open, and I hope this means they're taking advantage of new technology? Don't know if I'd call it new. Anyways, I just want to see what they can pull off here. I know some of the trailer footage is rough, and I mean the frames were chugging, but to be fair, the game is a year out, and polish is usually the last thing that comes when a game is being made. But again, I just want to see what Atlus can pull off when they're not being held back by older hardware as well. But of course, I know to manage my expectations because they're not a giant company, even if they are owned by Sega. So I'm not expecting anything insane, but I want to see something more. Show me that this is the next step for Atlus, and not one step forward and 2 steps back.
Oh, come on, it's in English.
And I don't want to stick my usual spiel of how stories in Atlus games haven't been living up to expectations. If you haven't watched a video of mine before or anything like that, I'll just explain it real quick. Atlus has struggled to deliver on stories outside of Persona. Shin Megami Tensei 5 story is like... and Soul Hackers 2 is like a lagging video game, rubber banding you back and forth and flinging you straight into underdeveloped plot points. So the theme of Re Fantazio is apparently... and I think that's neat, but I want them to execute it on it well. How do you deliver likable and interesting characters around that without making them all the same? I'm not asking this as a, I don't know how they can do it, but I want them to commit to this, and I hope that they can deliver a satisfying story with these characters and with that theme. I don't want them to throw all the imagery we're being given right now right out the window for the sake of getting the game out.
I know!
And I know my hopes are kind of vague, but I don't think there's a lot we have to go off of either. I know the calendar system exists within the game, and I kind of hope it doesn't follow the exact same system as Persona. Again, differentiate yourself. If it does, it won't ruin the game for me, of course, but I hope they find a way to make it interesting and a little bit different, because doing what Persona does all the time, just because it's your most popular franchise, is not always the most interesting thing when it comes to new IPs. I also kind of hope that it doesn't pass time on like a scale, so like every minute that passes is 1 hour or something like that, but I think now I'm just being picky. That aside, the obvious is already what we're seeing. There's a stylish UI, and some of the elements are huge, and then there's the visual style. Again, without a doubt, this game is looking good, at least visually. Atlus has not failed my expectations a single time with the visuals, in their most recent big games. So I think in terms of the categories where they've been consistent, we're pretty safe.
Show me your true form.
Get it together, dude.
There's a lot of obvious stuff that I'm saying here, and I think that's genuinely because I just don't totally know what to expect. I don't have my finger down on anything. I'm looking at this trailer and I'm like, these are all really cool shots and really cool ideas, but we're seeing about a second or two of gameplay in between all of these cutscenes. It's not really telling me that much. But in truth, while I do like the core components of a lot of Atlus games, I just want Re Fantazio to show me how it is different. Why is this a new IP? What makes it different, and how will it show that to me that this is something different and new that deserves to be called a new IP? And even if it falls flat on its face, which I hope it doesn't, because Atlus really needs a heavy hitter besides Persona, I will respect it for at least trying if it does do a lot of new. If it doesn't, and it still falls flat on its face, okay, well, we'll check on that in about a year. And if you have any more insights or opinions about Re Fantazio, you can leave them down in the comments below. One of the best parts about new games and trailers and announcements is that we get to talk about them and speculate. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to the channel for more things Atlus, JRPG, and Re Fantazio related. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.